Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the BNS channel. My name's Edie and I have a public service announcement for you. It's not really a public service announcement. I just want to forewarn you. I want to share an experience with you so that you don't have to go through the same thing. If you are considering bariatric surgery, I want to pre-warn you that from what I understand, there's actually a lot of people that have bariatric surgery that don't go through a pre-training program. And what I mean by that is with my program, I had to see a dietitian, I had to see a psychologist a few times, and then we saw the doctor, and so there's a lot of like a prerequisite to actually having the surgery. And from what I understand, there's a lot of people or a lot of places that offer bariatric surgery without that program, that pre-program. They have a support group where I'm going. So I kind of want to share this for those that don't get this warning. Part of the training that I got, my dietitian stated that, you know, for the first month prior to my surgery, we had to learn to eat slow. We had to learn to eat for 30 minutes rather than 10 or 15. We had to learn to take smaller bites. We had to learn that we couldn't drink through a straw because it creates gas in our new stomach. So a lot of these practices started before the surgery even happened. And it's been a struggle for me to slow down when I eat. You know, part of that is the love of food, and you just want to get it all in you. Sorry guys, there's an ambulance going by, so I need to pull over. Gosh, I hope it's nobody that's bad off. Quick prayer for them. So God, take care of the person that ambulance is going to retrieve. Make sure that they're safe and recover quickly. Okay, so sorry about that. So the program for me was vital because there were practices that I needed to instill as habits prior to the surgery that I'm still kind of struggling with, and I can't imagine if I hadn't started it back then how it would be now. So the littler bites hasn't been such an issue, but taking my time to eat, I mean, I think that comes from getting half-hour breaks for lunches in the corporate world, or, you know, sometimes not getting breaks at all and having to sit at your desk and eat. It has become part of our society to eat quickly. Fast food restaurants, perfect example. So I was in New Hampshire last week for my grandson's 4th birthday. Some of you already know that. Oh, there's an eagle out on the branch. How spectacular. Wow, you guys are missing all kinds of stuff today. And while traveling, see, I went to my dietitian last week while I was traveling and was approved to move on to the next phase. So I went from soft foods to now pretty much regular food, just with a high protein, high fiber focus. And I find it hard to travel when you are restricted with your food. And part of that is my mindset that needs to change, because when you really think about it, it's not that hard. You just have to be creative. And when you go to a restaurant, you don't know how your food is being cooked. So that is usually the worst or the hardest part to get around. You know, because you end up having to ask how something is made, or maybe have something put on the side. But I've found that restaurants are quite adapted to that and being asked these questions. So I think it's becoming more normal that we question what's in our food. So let me get to the experience that I had. There's something called dumping in the gastric sleeve and gastric bypass world. And dumping means that you've either eaten fatty foods, sugary foods, maybe you've eaten too fast, maybe you ate too much. So it's either the wrong food or too much too fast. And what happens is it typically gives you this really big pressure in your tummy and up into your esophagus, especially if you've eaten too much. But a lot of times, or sometimes, it can cause nausea, it can cause sweats, it can cause shaking, and it also can cause vomiting. So I have told myself right from the beginning, when I learned this at the beginning, before I even had the surgery, I was like, I hate vomiting. That's like not something I want to do. So I told myself that I would stay away from fatty and sugary foods because I did not want to vomit. We did a lot of ordering in other words, we had a lot of delivery. And for the most part, when we did sandwiches and that sort of stuff, it was pretty easy for me to find, you know, just send me some meat, get me some protein and, you know, maybe some veggies or something. But one night we decided to order Chinese, and I thought, you know what, I think I'm going to be okay. And here's another thing, guys. When you don't know how foods are made, you can guess and end up being wrong, which is what happened to me. With this diet, I can have hot sauce, which I love hot sauce. And so my thought process was curry is it's a variation of hot sauce. And so I got curry chicken and white rice. Sorry. The white rice was probably a no-no. Curry was probably a no-no. The chicken was, actually I got beef, not chicken. The beef was probably okay. It could have potentially been too fatty. Well, let me tell you, after I finished eating, I got lots and lots of pressure all the way up to my throat. And I kept, this is probably TMI for some of you, so if you can't handle this, then fast forward. But I was getting a lot of saliva in my mouth, so I would go into the bathroom and I would spit it because I didn't want to swallow, because I knew I didn't have any more space for anything else to go in there. So I tried to calm myself. I tried to breathe through it, because I'd had that pressure before when I have eaten too much. And sometimes all it takes is one extra bite and it's too much. And usually within half an hour it goes away and I'm fine. And I'm learning from that. So it doesn't happen as often as it used to. Well, I think I went and got rid of some spit like 3 times. And on the 4th time to the bathroom, I got that metallic-y saliva that comes right before you vomit. You know the one I'm talking about? And I lost my cookies. And I am a vomiter that is so profuse that it is wrenching. This kind of vomiting was very different because there's no acid that comes up. It's just the food and just like saliva and phlegm. Again, if it's too much information for you guys, then I'm sorry. And I vomit so hard that I typically will burst blood vessels around my eyes. But this time was the worst vomiting that I've ever had in my life, and it will never happen again. I burst blood vessels all in my face. I mean, from like here up, even around my eyebrows, to the point where I thought I had a bloody nose because I had blood coming out of my nose. And for the next 2 days, I was actually blowing my nose and it was blood clots that was coming out. So I'm assuming that I must have burst a vessel up in my sinus cavity, and that's what was coming out. My experience hopefully will never be yours, and that's why I'm sharing this, because I determined that I ate too much, way too fast, of the wrong kind of food. And my body said, "Yep, it ain't happening." So, although I felt immediately better after, it was a horrible experience that I never want to go through again. So, yesterday my husband and I went to Subway for dinner, and I had a wheat flatbread with chicken breast, with lettuce, pickles, and onions, spinach with light mayo. I had pepper jack cheese, which it doesn't affect me, but I'm not sure that that's the best choice, and I'm gonna have to, because I should be eating light cheese, not regular cheese, if I'm gonna have cheese at all. And I took my time. It took me 30 minutes to eat 4 bites, and they were regular sized bites. But chew, get it to a consistency that's, you know, almost watery, but it's not mushy. And then I kind of swallow it in sections. So it's all about new ways of doing things, and I'm thrilled about it. Don't get me wrong. I've lost a total of 43 pounds, so that's pretty exciting. And I am starting to feel better. If my heart would stop being such a pooper, I would be doing a lot more. And I'm anxious for that day. So, sorry for all the bumps, guys. Our roads are horrible. So yeah, that's my experience. I wanted to share it with you. Please don't go through that if you don't have to. And the choice is that you don't have to. So eat slow, be mindful of what you're eating, and don't eat too much. If even last night while we were at Subway, I know that this is TMI too, but I had taken a 5th bite of my sandwich, and I chewed it all up, and as I was chewing, I felt a little bit of pressure in my stomach, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to get that one down, and if I swallow this, I'm going to be paying for it. So I spit it out in my napkin, and that was it. So it's a learning curve. It's a lot of changes. It's a lot of learning. It's a lot of adjusting. It's a lot of paying attention, being aware of what you're doing and what you're eating and how you're eating it. So if you're going down this path, this journey, please take that as a heed of warning to not eat too fast, too much, or the wrong food. All right, guys, have an amazing day. I'm sorry if it was too graphic, but it is life. It is how we survive, and every human being goes through these things sometimes, even if you're not a bariatric patient. So, all right, guys, have an amazing day. Go make it an amazing day for somebody else and pay it forward with kindness. Bye.